Khao Soi is just one of those soups from Thailand that you gotta love it. It's a fantastic soup. But in order to make it correctly, we have to start making the curry paste. And this is wildly different from the red curry paste, and many of you maybe know from Thailand. And predominantly because it has what's called black cardamom. And this is a very funky little spice. They come like this in a husk. So we have to get them out of there. I have 8 of them here actually. We want to get the seeds out of these. They smell a little bit like a smoky single malt whiskey from Islay, actually. So
that's why you like it, huh?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Oops. Flat bottom pot. Just squeeze them a bit, and then you can open them up. And let me see if I can show you. Then they come out, these little seeds here. And that's the ones you're looking for. So we want to get all of these out, like that. And the husk, well, that's just the husk, because it's the inside that gives the flavor. So let me crack all these, and then I'll show you how we proceed. There they are, 8 pots opened up. It doesn't look like much, but trust me, it's enough. So now we want to get them onto our knife and into a cold pan. Then we're going to go in with 30 grams of coriander seed. And then we're going to start this up and dry roast these until they start dancing a little bit on the pan, but be careful not to burn them. Keep moving them around because they do burn pretty easy. But you need that toasting to open up the essential oils, the flavor, and that's gonna be amazing in this curry paste, trust me. And well, it smells nice and toasty and a fantastic flavor. It's amazing how that little bunch of black cardamom that can make so much flavor.
They're super aromatic.
But by the way, I didn't mention that before. Do not mistake this for cardamom. It has nothing to do with cardamom that you can buy in, let's say, powdered form or whatever. This is a very different flavor profile, so you cannot substitute, because then you're just going to end up with a horrible tasting soup. We set these aside a little bit, and then we are going to continue with our shallots and our ginger, because that we also want to toast. And as you see here, I have 2 different types of shallots. You have your regular French red shallot, which is the one that you typically know. And these are the yellow Dutch shallots, which are more common here in Greece than the other ones. But I just wanted to show you the difference, because there are 7, 8 different types of shallots, but it doesn't really matter what you can get your hands on. Then we split them in half and put them face down on our pan, like that. We want to get a char on these. We are not cooking them. We want to get a char. So let me get them in so they can start to get a little bit of color here. Let me start this up again. And then a ginger. This was 4 shallots, and here I have 60 grams of ginger, which we're going to slice up into, let's say, thick slices. Very simple. And they go into the pan also to get a char. Mind you, they don't get a good char like the onions because they don't contain a lot of sugar. So just get them in the pan and let them get some color. When the onions are done, you don't want to cook the ginger anymore either. But that charring will give you a significant change in flavor on the paste when we're finished with this. So let's have a look here, see how they look. You see they're starting to get there, but they need a little bit more. And when you get that, or even a little bit more, but I'm not going to go any further because I don't want them to be completely black, because then it can also become burned, and I don't want that. So out with these. As you maybe can see from the top camera here, they got a nice little char, not too black. If you want to go further than this, I've seen other recipes where they go much further and get it totally black. That's up to you, but a nice char, that's what we need for now. And now for the paste, I'm gonna use my blender, which is not very traditional. You would be using a big, heavy-duty mortar and pestle, but I just find it much easier to do it in a blender. So all of our seeds, they go in first, in the bottom with them. And then we're going to use chili peppers. Today I'm using guajillo. Traditionally, you would be using spur chilies, but they are very difficult to get your hands on unless you're in Thailand. So guajillos, that's a good substitute. Dried chilies, Just snip them up with your kitchen shears like this, directly into the blender. And that was the last one. And yeah, if you worry about the seeds, then as you maybe saw, I don't cut off all of them. I leave because the seeds are only here in the top. So instead of fighting with them, I just took an extra chili and then chop it up like that. So just to make it easy on myself. Normally you would char also fresh turmeric, but I can't find fresh turmeric. So I substitute with powdered turmeric. Is it perfect? No, but what do you do in a pinch? 10 grams of that. If you were using fresh, you would use around 20-25 grams. So in with turmeric, and then 20 grams of coarse sea salt, or kosher salt if you are in the US. And then we want to blend this. When we have a nice powder like this, don't worry if all the chilies, they haven't completely broken down yet, because they do contain some oil. That doesn't matter because it will go back in the blender once more once we do the paste part of it. So get the dry things out of here into a bowl. Yeah, it smells fantastic, right? Yeah. That's true. Yeah. All of our ginger shallot, they go straight in. 4 cloves of garlic. And then we give this a spin also. And you might have to push this down a little bit once in a while because they stay on top of the blade, but that's something you have to live with when you're making things like this. Just like that. And then we continue. And if it persists being irritating, then you can give it a splash of water to help along. Don't give too much, just a little bit of water just to make it easier for the blender to make this. And anyway, we want it to be a paste, so. And now you see, when that is nice and smooth, we're gonna go back with our chili spice mixture here. Be careful not to lose any of this good stuff. There's a lot of flavor here. That's for sure. And we continue. And there we have it, a nice paste. This is about the consistency you want, or even a little bit more dry, it doesn't really matter. Don't make it too watery, it has to be able to stand up for itself when we're going to fry it. I'll show you in a bit. So let's get this out, and then we continue with the rest, because from here on in, it's smooth sailing. And now we have to start out with our fantastic curry paste. I'm gonna take some coconut oil, a couple of tablespoons in a pot here, maybe 3, I don't know. We want to have a little bit of oil. It's a big pot, I'll give it 4. Normally I would use a more narrow pot when I make soups, but I chose my rondo pot, so it's easy for you to see what I'm doing. So, coconut oil in, crank this up to, let's say, medium, and then we're gonna put in all of our nice curry paste and get that frying in here. That's the whole idea. This is a big portion. If you want to make less, then you can just half everything that I have been talking about here, or which is in the recipe in our homepage. So get this roasting here in our oil, and I'll show you what we're looking for. And when you see on the edges here that the coconut oil is sizzling and we have a fantastic smell in the house, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely. You can already smell that we're going to be eating good today.
I confirm that.
So, as I said, it's a big portion. We're going double. So here I have 2 cans of full-fat coconut milk. Don't go with skimp with all this light stuff here. You want the flavor. So full-fat coconut milk, in with that. And before we do anything else, I'm gonna go in with 1.5 liter of homemade chicken stock. 6 cups of homemade chicken stock. You could use water, but I'm just saying chicken stock is... and I want to give all of this a good mix.
Or they can add some chicken bouillon if they don't have a
of
homemade
course.
Chicken stock.
If you're in the US, better than bouillon, a couple of spoons of that and then water, then you're set to go.
You're good to go, yeah.
Fantastic product. And as we bring this up to a simmer, we're going to add a little bit more of the let's say, umami things. A couple of tablespoons of regular soy sauce. This is low sodium, so we will taste it later for salt. But there is salt in the paste, don't forget that. 2, 3, 4 of those, I would say, for this batch. And then I'm going to go in with dark soy. If you can't find it in your local Asian supermarket or whatever, then you can order it online because it has a very different flavor, much darker. Haha, dark soy sauce. But that's true. And then we are going to use a little bit of oyster sauce, but we're going to do that at the end when we can taste it because this is also salty. And then I have 40 grams of shaved palm sugar. Actually, this is 30 because I dialed it down a little bit.
So not more for sweet food.
No, you need a bit of sweetness in the background, but you don't want it to be sweet, if you know what I mean. So we're going to bring this up to a simmer. And it already looks fantastic. It's going to be a good soup day. And when this is at a nice simmer, we are going to introduce our chicken to the game. Traditionally in Thailand, this would be served bone-in chicken, which we're going to do with 4 drumsticks that I'm going to lower in here. And yes, there is no searing here because traditionally you don't sear them, you poach them in Thailand. But because my wife, she's not a big fan of drumsticks, I'm also going to add a couple of chicken breasts for her pleasure. What's going to happen now is we're going to poach this and at a low simmer for probably 45 minutes for the drumsticks to be cooked fully. The breasts, I will probably pull them around 20. I'll check the temperature because they cook much faster, but we'll see when we get there. It's been a good 20 minutes. I think it's time that we give a check on our chicken breast to see what temperature we have reached here. We are at perfect 67, 68. That's just perfect. You don't want to take it all the way to 75 because the carryover temperature will take it, the rest of it, and you don't want it to get dry. You want it to stay juicy. They look really good. And the soup smells fantastic. Let's give also a look on the drumsticks. I know they need more because the legs, they need to cook longer. That's absolutely certainty. I can feel it also. They need to go higher. They are not there yet, but they will be there soon. We let them there for probably another 10 minutes maybe, while we go over and deal with our crispy noodles. Well, for our egg noodles, I'm using dried egg noodles because I can't find them fresh here. If you can find them fresh in your Asian market, definitely do so. But what I have done here is I took one of them and boiled it to the package instruction, 5 minutes, and cooled them down. So now we can fry them because on top of your Khao Soi, you want crispy noodles. So into the deep fat fryer with these. And then we let them fry up here. The oil is at 180, and we let them fry up there till it stops bubbling actually. And look, all the bubbling have subsided and they are crispy and crunchy even inside the oil. So let them drip a little bit here. They stick, they're very crispy. This is gonna be good. And then out on some paper, and while they're still hot, we are going to give them a bit of salt. That's it. And they're ready to be put on top as decoration on our beautiful soup and give some nice crunchy texture. Let's see where we are on the drumsticks here. I think we are ready. I'm not so much looking for temperature. It's more a feel where they are. Yeah. This is perfect. And they are 80 degrees, but that doesn't matter. But they are super tender. So I'm going to take these out also, not to overcook them, while we prepare our boiled noodles so we are ready to serve. I'll keep the soup simmering. And by the way, if you see that layer of fat on top of the soup here and you feel the urge to skim that off, don't do it, because when you serve it, that will coat the noodles. So it's not like you're going to sit and slurp the fat directly. That will just coat the noodles nicely, so it's going to be really beautiful. So, but you will see when we serve. So we will deal with the noodles and then we will plate it up. Everything is ready. So now we just have to finish off the final touches on our soup. So let me give this a little bit of a stir so I can have a small taste. Careful not to burn myself here, that's difficult. Ooh. That's good. But it needs a little bit. Not really salt as such, but I'm gonna give it just a splash of our oyster sauce, like a tablespoon or so for a little bit more umami. I don't even have to taste it because I know where we are right now. This is just about perfect. So for serving, we have boiled our egg noodles. I thought it wasn't necessary to show you how to boil them 5 minutes in water. It's on the package. So we take some of that. Now you decide how many noodles you want in your soup. I don't like it overly crowded with noodles, but that's entirely up to you, what you prefer. Trying to escape here. There we go. That looks nice to me. Then we're gonna grab some of our soup, which just smells magnificent and looks actually magnificent. There we are. And since we are going with the bone-in version here for you guys, let me put that aside. I'm gonna take one of our beautiful drumsticks, put it here on the side. That looks nice. And then we're gonna put in some of our crispy noodles, and I can reach them over here because that's the crunch you want on your noodles there. And then, which is another thing which, at least if you ask somebody from Thailand, is not optional, that is mustard greens. That you can get online or in your local Asian supermarket. It's basically some kind of pickled cabbage. But they give some crunch and some acidity to this. I was thinking to add lime to the soup, but when I tasted it, I decided not to. I will put a couple of lime wedges here instead. So that, I think, is a pretty portion of Khao Soi. Yeah, the black ball didn't work out so well, so...
We turned into a white one.
That turned into a white one. That is just beautiful. Let me get a little bit of this and see if I can slurp some noodles here on YouTube without making too much of a mess on my white polo.
I was amazed actually with these many elaborate steps. It wasn't that long recipe, like in an hour you can make that.
Nana, that is just damn good. And egg noodles is the right way to go. It is beautiful, and the soup has a little bit of kick. I want to taste just the soup a little bit here because that's just really damn good. And I know, love, you're gonna enjoy this a lot because it's not too spicy. It's a perfect level, little bit piquant. Excellent recipe. It's a soup you have to try.